Hi there. Welcome back to Tarot by Janine. How's everybody doing? I'm doing good. I got a really interesting topic I want to start with. So it's about that video that came out recently, which probably 1,000 people emailed me about. Could even be more than 1,000 emails about it, honestly. So those are some of the words in the title. And likely that video is going to be taken down real quick. But if you get a chance, I shared it. Everybody's been sharing it. It's literally gone viral. And of course, it was a certain fellow interviewing a doctor. Now, interesting. So not a medical doctor. So just to point out, the guy's a chiropractor. Okay, but I'm not disputing what he's saying. I'm just pointing that out. So the video is done very in a dramatic fashion. I found it to be a little button pushy and not with a lot of actual, like it was a little bit propaganda-ish. Okay, that was just my take. I'm not saying the information's wrong. I'm not saying that at all. But I had to agree with a certain paper, a fellow named Cliff. So some people call him Uncle Cliff. You guys know who I'm talking about. I can't say his full name here because, that name is not friendly to YouTube. Neither is Stu's full name, actually. So both of these characters, you can't really say their name on YouTube, which is exactly why. And I probably can't say that doctor's name either because YouTube is likely not going to be friendly to this, okay? Which, tells you something about the information right there. So the video came out. It's getting millions of views. I'm going to look at it. And what it basically, like short and long of it, without going into any of the details, I'm going to save that for Jean-Claude and I are going to do a special report on this very topic on a venue that I can talk. Okay. But a lot of people want to know, here's the takeaway from the video. So if you haven't seen it yet, a lot of people want to know, is our water supply safe? That's all I'm going to ask around this tonight. And is bottled water safe? And is there some bottled water that is or isn't? And or some areas in the world that do or don't? Like, do we have hot spots of unsafe drinking water? And then I'm going to do a big mid-April, because we're mid-April almost, check-in. And just do a big zodiac on the rest of April and just see how we're doing. So I'm going to start, is our drinking water safe? And I'm sorry that I can't get into more details with that video. We'll just keep it to drinking water. Is it safe? And do we have hot spots in the drinking water? And then we'll look at bottled water. Okay, let's have a look. Interesting. None of these cards look like we have unsafe drinking water. And of course, that's a pretty big question because I'm talking to people from all over the world. So for the most part, and of course, because I mentioned the video, I likely likely the cards are going to be picking up on, the contents of that video. So you would have to go watch the video. By the way, I shared it on all my social media. So you'll find it there. We don't put links in the channel for really obvious reasons. Okay, we can't put links that are outside of YouTube on the channel. Okay, so here we've got the Queen of Pentacles and the Six of Wands. So the Queen of Pentacles is describing our water. Okay, so for the most part, the water's, that's actually a really good card, right? So our drinking water is, for the most part, as safe as it's ever been. I mean, there's nothing specifically wrong with the drinking water. Okay, so when you watch the video, that'll make more sense to you. And we've got the Six of Wands there. So that's interesting. Six of Wands. So one way I could read that is it's been made safe. So if it was unsafe, but interesting, the past card, we've got the Queen of Wands. So that's not really telling me it was unsafe. Okay. But like I said, I'm not going to deep dive on that. I just wanted to help people through if they watch that and they're feeling fearful. This is my intention right now. I'm not going to deep dive and I'm not going to conclusively say the video was legit and the information's legit, or I'm going to deep dive on that just later in the week. Yeah, your drinking water looks safe to me here. Okay, so we've got the 8 of Wands. So the 8 of Wands. Now that's interesting, the 8 of Wands. So that's swiftly. I think there's more information coming that will explain. Maybe there's further information beyond the video that we still don't know yet that's going to make what I just said here make a lot more sense, because there's more information coming out here that may alter what was originally said in the video, which could create a whole different scenario. But I'm going to say drinking water safe for the most part. Obviously places that put fluoride in it there's issues there and everything. But generally speaking, there's nothing has poisoned, let's say, your drinking water that I can see here. Okay, so that's good to know. So now let's look at bottled water, because that's a whole nother topic, right? Bottled water. So that was tap water. Let's look at bottled water, because that would be interesting. I mean, they could hijack some water bottling, factories, the bad guys, the black hats. So let's have a look. Well, if it was unsafe, which is potential here with that Page of Cups. So in small areas, there could have been pockets of unsafe and certain companies carrying unsafe water. Interesting. But that looks like that was stopped. And there's our alliance, Mr. T and the White Hats card. So that's interesting. I feel like some of that was hijacked, let's call it, by the good guys. So there might have been a plan. It didn't get very far. And wow, isn't that interesting? But it looks like that was stepped back and by the good guys. They must have known about that. So wow. And here we've got the 6. So for the most part, your bottled water is not coming up as a poisoned source of water. Now, just to be safe, though, I always use filtered water myself. I just, have my own little water filtering system, and I think I'm going to step it up, frankly. And it wouldn't be a bad idea if you even if you got yourself, some kind of a water filtering system. There's lots of them out there. You might want to look into that depending on your, what's available in your area and what you can afford. And there's even ways on the internet that can show you how to do it. If you have no money, there's ways to make your own water filtering systems. So you might want to look into that, just because even it does look like there was a plan to make the water unsafe, but that was taken over and stepped back by the good guys. So that's interesting. So we've been seeing a lot of that go down. But like I said, I'm going to deep dive on this whole situation because there's way more to that video. And a lot of it could be absolutely true. And I'd like to find out. So we're going to deep dive on that, Jean-Claude and I. Okay, now I'm going to have a look at just how's everybody doing here, because we're halfway through the month almost, not quite, but just about halfway through the month. And it's important to do a little, April check-in. We're going to do a, April check-in and just see how we're doing here. So I'll do a big zodiac. Wow, there you go. There's the zodiac for the remainder of April. So we've got the Queen of Cups. That's ourselves. So we're getting a little bleary here. We were doing really, really good, but I got a feeling people are getting a little bit weary. It's like they're absolutely sick of the movie. I get it. I'm sick of the movie too, right? We've got the Hierophant across from it. They're sick of even, because once there's a group in the world that's been oppressing humanity, messing with us, lying to us, changing all of our systems to suit themselves, yada, yada. Everything around what we've been saying for the last couple of years, what we discovered, what some people knew for years, much, much longer than some of us knew. I feel like you just want that out of there. You just want that to be dealt with, right? And this whole long drawn out psychological situation that's going on. It's starting to wear thin on people's nerves here. And that Queen of Cups, she's done. She's like, okay, I just want to focus on something else. Okay, because it gets really intense to focus just on, rabbit holes and going down the rabbit holes, never knowing, like you get a big video like comes out, and then you get somebody else, a really trusted truther, totally saying the exact opposite, and how the thing that was supposedly put in the waters would have dissolved in the water and wouldn't stay potent in the water, which, okay, that makes sense too. And it's like, oh my goodness, like, how can we go forward when we're getting completely the opposite? Like, we get one huge report from, trusted sources, then we get another huge report from another trusted source that's the exact opposite. It's like, it's really hard. It's really teaching us to be discerning and think for ourselves. This is not about getting on anybody's bandwagon. This is about weighing out both of those, weighing out that video, really looking at what was said that made a lot of sense from that newsletter from Uncle Cliff, like weighing things out, looking into things, and not just going with, cause somebody did a really slick video, we're going with it. But on the other hand, could be a whole lot of truth to that slick video as well. Right. But just the format that they used, that I wouldn't have used that format. It was a little bit too, and like was pointed out, propaganda-y. Okay. But that doesn't mean there isn't a lot of truth there. Okay, so we're getting kind of fed up here, and that just makes sense. You know what I mean? We're getting yo-yoed around, and it's just getting on our nerves. She's done, okay, with that. Now, here we've got the Six of Cups. Now, that's around finances, and it's it's around values. What do we value? So finding our tribe, we're valuing. People are coming back into our lives. Like, it seemed like it was thinning and thinning for the last 2 years, at least. For a lot of us viewers, we had to thin cull the herd kind of thing, because a lot of people were thinking we were nuts, not respecting our opinion about things, maybe even not inviting us to, situations, or not even showing up or coming over. I bought a new home, and almost none of my people that I used to think were my friends have even seen it or been over. You know what I mean? Like, I had all of the viewers over for that party I had, and a handful of people. Usually I can pack a house. Okay, house party. This girl knows how to have a house party. And it was like almost nobody showed up. Like I had to really, really look for the crowd I got, which I'm very grateful for, by the way. But anyway, I digress. Okay. So it's saying is we're starting to value finding those gems of people that we do connect with. And even if they're online gems, we are finding our tribe. And that is more valuable than money any day, frankly. It's more valuable than anything. Connections, right? We're valuing connections a lot more. Okay, and here we've got, so if that was about finances, we've got the Page of Swords. So we're looking at a brand new, we're going to hear some news here. And there's a lot of gossip and innuendo around finances and what's going to be happening financially. But for the rest of April, because this card reading is for the rest of April, we're going to hear some really interesting news that feels like it's a kindness to us. There's some kind of news out there we're going to hear about between now and the end of April that will help us feel good about our future finances. And that's interesting, because we've been hearing mostly bad news about our potential, like if you're just watching mainstream media, you're thinking everything's just going down the toilet, around finances. But actually, I think we're going to hear some news that could really be uplifting around finances sometime, between now and the end of April. So that's good. Okay, so here we've got the Three of Swords. So this is around what we're thinking about. So it's the House of Gemini. So your thoughts, your words, what you're putting out there. Be really careful, because a lot of people are falling back into really negative thinking and patterns of verbally speaking the negative. Okay, because we have been getting some big gut punches, and it's hard. It's hard to navigate that. right? But it is important to stay diligent with reminding yourself that you are creating your destiny as you think, believe, visualize, and how you see your future helps it happen that way. So if you're only seeing the dreary, that's you're going to have to really work on that, right? Come back to remembering that you're co-creating your destiny. So here, right at the root of ourselves, so we've got that Two of Swords right in our heart. So what grounds us in our home, and that could even be within ourselves. So like our heart and soul, you know what I mean? Okay, so we've got that Two of Swords. Well, it is like we're sitting on the fence because there's all of these things we know so much, but we're waiting for everybody else to know, right? So that, and we're also, there's some big things that we know need to shift before that can happen. So it's like we're all sitting on pins and needles, and that Four of Pentacles across from it. So there's a few big things that we're really sitting on pins and needles about. Probably like London Bridge falling is one of them to me. Situations like the EBS, if it's going to happen, that would be really cool. Frankly, I'm all like, let's do this. Let's. And I think it's still up in the air if they're even going to go ahead. They might do things in a more subtle way, long drawn out way, which frankly this is what's creating that card there where we're all getting dreary. Okay. So there's still a lot of things up in the air about how things are going to go down. And we don't know for sure with cards like that. And so that's contributing to some of the mood swings we might be feeling. So here we've got the Chariot now in the fifth. So creative things, like I said, and I've said this before, right when you least expect it and very fast, everything's going to change. Okay. Wow. So we're sitting here, we're in the dark, but all of a sudden everything changes, and in a very creative way with that card, because the Chariot is in the fifth house of creativity. So the house of Leo. So that's very creative. And meanwhile, we're busy like lamenting and feeling blue. And so don't waste a lot of time down in the dumps if you can pick yourself up, because actually when things shift, they shift very fast and furious. And what we need to happen is going to happen, okay, for humanity. So that's been consistent. Okay, so here we've got the Two of Wands. Now that's in our daily routine, and it's around health, daily routines, things like that. Now this is interesting. We've got the Two of Wands. So the Two of Wands across from the King of Cups. From a safe perspective, looking at so things revealing themselves. So this is the deep unconscious. So things revealing themselves that have been hidden safely, in a safe way, revealing themselves. And as far as I'm concerned, so much has been revealed about that whole situation. They're not going to be able to get away with it. Like they're pushing hard with the last little bits of their tiny bit of power they have, but that is all going to snap here. Because we've just got avalanches of information, and there is lawsuits piling up, just ready to go. And a couple of those win, you're going to have like doctors running for the hills that have been pushing this whole situation and in charge of some of the protocols that have been happening at the hospitals. Like they're getting outed left, right, and center. And these lawsuits are not going to be kind to them. So even though everybody thinks they can't be sued, guess what? They can be sued. Okay, there's going to be a way to do it. And we humans are going to win that one, let me tell you. And that's what that looks like. They're outing these people. And they're doing it in a way that they're keeping the people that are outing them safe, at the same time outing them. So rest assured, people. Okay, so here we've got the Hierophant. So our relationship with, this is the deep state, the dark cult. So this would be our relationship with, okay, it's almost like we're done with the relationship. She's done with, so she being us, this is us. We're done with having this dysfunctional relationship with, we're turning away from, and we're making a boundary with, but it's a little dreary here. It's getting a little old. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we're going to have to bring our energy up a little bit. That's the advice I'd give looking at this card reading. If you were my client, okay, I'd say, okay, you got to work on not feeling sorry for ourselves. okay, and recognizing that we came here to take this down. Right now, this time in history, this is all meant to be, okay? So if we just remember and rally again, okay? 8th house here. So Page of Swords. There's going to be some really interesting information come out about a couple, it looks like, and possibly even a siblings. Famous siblings. I don't know why this just popped in my head, so I'll just say it because sometimes that's your best work as a reader, just whatever. If it just pops in there, you just say it. It's not really the cards even saying it. It's more my intuition. But there's going to be some kind of, it'll appear like gossip, but it'll be true. Okay. And it's going to be very damaging information about a brother and sister and or a sibling duo in Hollywood. So I don't know who I'm talking about there, but they're either siblings or they presented themselves as siblings, or they may not be Hollywood. They may even just be a famous pair that are actually brother and sister, brothers or sisters. I'm not sure. But siblings or presented as siblings. They may not technically be siblings, but there's going to be some outing of them. And it'll be the start of a lot of outing of celebrities and people that used to call themselves elites. Yeah, some big outing is coming here. And it's sort of the start of it here coming right up. Look for it. Okay, so here we've got that 3 of Pentacles across from the 3 of Swords. Yeah, so turning our mental thoughts into a more constructive. Remember that you're in charge of how you feel about things. Talk about it, think and feel about things. Okay, just remember, take charge of that yourself so you don't get into that dreariness that I'm picking up. Some people are in that funk, Okay, now here's where we're headed. So by the end of the month here, we've got that 4 of Pentacles. Well, we might actually be either locked down, and I don't mean the bad kind of lockdown, possibly that whole scenario they've been telling us was gonna come, or we'll be feeling like we really need to pull in and stay close to home and keep ourselves safe somehow. So that's interesting. That's like by the end of the month, there's a feeling of we're wanting to stay home and stay close. Yeah, we're stay close with our loved ones and keep ourselves safe and keep our loved ones safe. So that's interesting. Okay, so let's keep looking here. I wonder if that has something to do with some of those rumors about, things all going down all at once. Big, false flappy things happening potentially here this weekend, even like all kinds of, there's so many things out there that could be talking about. So I'll just say by the end of the month, we're going to be feeling like, we want to stay safe and close to home. So isn't that interesting? Okay. And here we've got that 5 of Cups. Now this is around friends and groups. And so it's the House of Aquarius. So it's talking about how we feel about meeting in groups. And this is the 5 we're going to be very disappointed in a lot of that. And this has been coming up consistently for months now in the zodiac readings. Disappointments around some of the groups we used to belong to or we used to feel a part of. Okay. Yeah. I feel like we're still weeding out some people. We're looking for our new tribe, but we're still letting go of old tribe. What doesn't work anymore for us. And here's the message from the deep unconscious. So we've got that King of Cups. Now, the King of Cups, when well aspected, is an incredible healer. Okay. And also there's a subtlety about him where he really understands and knows. So he's socially a genius and he really understands and knows what's going on. But I think for the remainder of the month, we're still going to have to stay in our knowing. I've been finding that I'm doing this. It's like I know all of these things, but I'm not sharing them like I used to with people who aren't willing to hear yet. So I don't feel the need to really push knowledge. Like I see people getting ill and they've been, double cured, right? And some boosters and, but I'm not sharing things that I might know about that or why but the illnesses that are happening are known things that could happen after those kind of products have been taken into your body. You know what I mean? So, but I'm not feeling the need to share that. So keeping your knowing close to your chest for the rest of the month, because things are going to get a little ugly with people finding out on their own what's been going on. And we've been seeing this coming for a while. It won't be pretty. And we have to let people discover it for themselves. And when they're ready to listen, we'll know. Thank you so much for watching my video. Do like, share, and subscribe.